You know, you can get caught up in drugs and alcohol and not think you have a way out. And that's exactly what happened to me.
When Naomi Campbell first walked into fashion, the industry wasn't ready for her. Agents whispered she was too dark to sell magazines. Editors dismissed her face as unmarketable, and the best she could hope for was to be the token black girl on a runway otherwise reserved for blondes and blue eyes. That she refused to accept those terms and instead forced the world to bend around her is the story of both her triumph and her infamy. Because alongside the glamour and the glory, Naomi's name would become forever linked to legal battles, public scandals, and controversies that sometimes seemed designed to break her, but often ended up defining her. Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. She was born in 1970 in Streatham, South London, to a mother who was a Jamaican dancer, who was often away on tour, and a father she never met. Raised mostly by her grandmother, Campbell found discipline and escape in ballet classes, where mirrors and barre exercises drilled into her a posture that would later become world famous. At 15, window shopping in Covent Garden, she was spotted by a model scout. Within a year, she was on the cover of British Elle. Soon after came Paris, where she would collide with a brutally white fashion industry. In 1988, she forced a breakthrough, the first Black woman ever to appear on the cover of French Vogue. Yves Saint Laurent himself had to threaten to withdraw his advertising before the magazine relented. The 90s brought Naomi into the rarest circle of all, the supermodel elite. Alongside Linda Evangelista and Christy Turlington, she was part of the Trinity, models so powerful they could dictate fees and even schedules. Her walk became a signature. Elegant, lethal, unforgettable. She wasn't just modeling clothes. She was embodying power. Yet even at the height of her fame, inequality lingered. While her peers landed multi-million-dollar beauty contracts, Campbell was told America wasn't ready for a Black woman to sell lipstick. She was allowed to sell couture, but not cosmetics, a contradiction that fueled both her defiance and her fury. Her outbursts became as legendary as her couture. In 1997, the murder of Gianni Versace, her mentor, friend, someone who saw her beyond the token, left her raw. Drugs crept in, cocaine, partying, missed shows. In 1999, she checked herself into rehab, but the press had already begun painting her as uncontrollable. Over the following years, the headlines multiplied. Assistants claiming she had hurled phones at them, housekeepers taking her to court for assault, airport staff alleging she kicked and spat during fits of rage. She was convicted of assault more than once, and photographs of Campbell sweeping New York sidewalks in designer gowns and stilettos during her community service became iconic in their own surreal way on punishment as performance art. One of her earliest battles in court involved privacy. In 2001, The Mirror published a story and photos of Naomi leaving a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. She sued, claiming breach of privacy and confidence. Initially, the High Court awarded her damages. The Mirror appealed. The lawsuit meant to defend her privacy backfired when the judges ruled that her addiction struggles were of public interest. Once again, her pain became a spectacle. Her love life did little to soften the narrative. She dated Hollywood royalty like Robert De Niro, powerful men like Formula One boss Flavio Briatore, and billionaires like Vladislav Doronin, who once built her a futuristic mansion in the shape of the Eye of Horus. None lasted, and each breakup was reported like a war story. She clashed with fellow model Tyra Banks in a rivalry that Banks later described as bullying, though younger models like Jordan Dunn and Adut Akic would come to call Naomi Mama, grateful for her mentorship. Campbell could be both destroyer and protector, depending on where you stood. The scandals followed her well into her 50s. In 2024, she faced perhaps the most damaging blow to her reputation when the UK Charity Commission revealed that less than 10% of funds raised by her organization, Fashion for Relief, had gone to charitable causes. The rest had been siphoned off by mismanagement and luxury expenses, from first-class flights and hotel suites to spa treatments and cigarettes. In September 2024, the findings became official. Naomi Campbell, Bianca Helmich, and Veronica Cho were disqualified from being trustees in the UK for 5, 9, and 4 years, respectively. Fashion for Relief was removed from the Charity Commission's register earlier in 2024. Campbell has since appealed, claiming she was unaware of the full scope of operations and asserting that some communications used to build the case against her involved a fake email impersonating her. For a woman once embraced by Nelson Mandela as his honorary granddaughter, it was a devastating fall. She denied wrongdoing, insisting she had been misled by others, but the stain remained. There was also controversy over an event purported to benefit UNICEF. In 2019, Fashion for Relief claimed to partner with UNICEF for a gala. But UNICEF UK says it was never a formal partner, never received funds, and reported the case as a serious incident to the Charity Commission. Campbell's team has said promotional materials were prepared in anticipation, but that the collaboration ultimately did not proceed. And yet, through every scandal, she never disappeared. She walked back into fashion time and time again, closing shows for Valentino and Balmain with the same catwalk prowl that once made her untouchable. She became a mother of 2 in her 50s, announcing the births without spectacle, reminding the world that she would share only what she chose. In 2019, she finally secured her first major beauty contract with NARS, decades after being told she was unsuitable to sell makeup. And in 2024, the Victoria and Albert Museum dedicated a full retrospective to her career, cementing her place not just in fashion but in culture. And yes, those scandals damaged her. Reputation, trust, brand value all took hits. But in many ways, they also fueled her legend because she does not vanish. She fights back. She redefines the narrative, often refusing apologies unless necessary, often refusing retreat. The same woman who once was told she couldn't be on covers finally landed a major beauty contract decades later. The same woman whose sexual partners and friendships were dissected finally held private arms around her children, choosing when and how to share. The same woman who was disqualified by a charity watchdog stood up to appeal, to explain, to confront the story on her terms. Naomi Campbell is full of contradictions. She can be wildly generous and totally scandalous, dazzling one moment and breaking down the next, soft and vulnerable, yet always ready to fight. She's the girl who flat out refused to take scraps. She just kept walking, kept shining, kept stirring things up. And maybe that's the biggest scandal of all. Naomi Campbell never stopped being Naomi Campbell. Always in the spotlight, always in the eye of the storm, and absolutely impossible to ignore.